Hey Aries, it's Regina here from Tarot and Time with your July astrology forecast. So Aries, I think you're the most affected by the retrogrades that are going on because most of them are happening in your sign and they're going to carry on for a lot of this year. Okay, the planets aren't going to move back into Pisces until like October, November. So they're going to be traveling through your sign. Now we're talking about Neptune, the great healer, the planet of creativity, but also the planet of illusion and delusion. It does rule spirituality. So we do have that moving through your sign. It just moved into your sign recently. Now it's going to backtrack and go back to the beginning of the year. So we're going to review things. Now Saturn, the planet of restriction, hardship, but the planet of long-term success, is also going to be moving back in Aries. So you're going to get to kind of review what's been going on these last few months. Lucky you, lucky us, right? So you also have a trine going on, a positive aspect with Mercury, the planet of communication, that's going to be retrograding back through the sign of Leo. Leo's a fire sign, you're a fire sign, so you make a nice trine. This is from July 18th till August 11th. We're going to review everything that's been going on since June 30th. So there's a lot of rewords for you: review, reevaluate, reassess, release. And so take advantage of this, okay? Now, also Chiron is going to be in its retrograde. Chiron's the wounded healer. That'll happen at the end of July. It will go till January of next year. So you're going to get a chance to heal your old wounds, be able to see the wound, address it, heal it, and almost like renegotiate with it, okay, so that we can move forward lighter. Now, let's see what else. We have a lot of things going on. You have a square going on with the planets in Cancer because Cancer is a cardinal sign and so are you, Aries. So until the 20th, you're going to have a square with the sun in Cancer. But then after the 20th, you're going to have a trine with the sun in Leo. So there's going to be a lot of joy there. And even though there's going to be a lot of retrogrades going on, it's still going to be really joyful for you. So take care of what you need to take care of and know that the end of the month gives you a little more relief, okay? Now, I got a lot of notes here. You have a sextile with Venus, and a sextile is a positive aspect. That's going to go on till the 30th, and then you're going to have a square with Venus when it moves into Cancer. So Venus rules your relationships, value, and it has a lot to do with your wallet. You're also going to have a square with Uranus, the oh wow planet. That's going to be for like 8 years, so you're just going to have to get used to that. Although you do have a sextile with Pluto, the planet of transformation and change. So there can be some positive change coming in. There can be some healing of the past coming in. And also there can be a lot of fun. Now I wrote down the ideal days for you are 7:20 through 7:30. And that's because we're going to have the new moon on the 24th in Leo, which is going to be trining you, a positive aspect. And so really, I think the month just gets better and better towards the end of it for you. Although the moon will be in your sign of Aries on July 16th from 12:32 a.m. until Friday the 18th at 3:59 a.m. And then we're approaching those last days of the month that I did feel were in your best favor, okay? So let's pull a couple theme cards here for you. I haven't looked at any of these yet. Let's pull a couple. I'm working with a couple great decks, the Herb Crafters, the Relative Tarot, the Tarot of New Visions, and I'm going to throw you down one of the oracles from the Relative Tarot. One just went flying. Let me grab that one. Okay, that one's going on the table. All right, so here we go, Aries, and we start off with the curandera of air, which I think is the King of Swords, and it's Rosemary, okay? And Rosemary has been handed to you. I've been reading a lot. There's this new book that came into the store about psychic protection, and I just put it out in my newsletter that I think it was like one of the best books I've read recently about this kind of stuff, because I find a lot of them are just like a lot of fluff, or they're so deep that you can't understand them. And this one was really powerful. And one of the things it was talking about was taking like ritual baths and to help clear energy, especially if you're working in like this kind of field of work where you're kind of picking up a lot of people's energy. And, I always talk about taking baths and taking salt baths, but salt's really hard on my skin. I'm really sensitive. And she was talking about taking goat's milk baths with rosemary. And I'm like, all right, I'm getting on that one, because the goat's milk, I guess, is really softening and nourishing. And rosemary is all about focus and clarity. And I believe it's really good for boundaries too. So you're kind of being handed this rosemary that's being harvested. And so the baths came into mind. This is the King of Swords, so it's big business. Rosemary to me is the most heavenly scent ever. It can shift your mood. And so here you are being handed this, okay? So maybe you're being handed some work or some opportunities. But because rosemary in essential oils is the oil of clarity and focus, looks like you will be able to do that. Even though Neptune's going to be, hanging out in your sign and it fogs things up, you may need some assistance with the clarity. Rosemary might be a good option for you. Your second card is the Eight of Wands here from the Relative Tarot. This is actually a travel card. This is sometimes called the honeymoon card. And we see that, I don't know if he is some form of a religious figure, but he is navigating the trip here. And so we see full speed ahead. Now, your third card is the Queen of Wands. And this is from the, what's it called? Tarot of the New Vision. So you get to kind of see behind the Queen's throne from an angle. Like this deck gives us different angles of things we don't usually get. So we can see maybe some of the Queen's helpers there in the background, like ladies in waiting for her. And so it looks like you have assistance. It looks like you have things being offered to you. It looks like things are being navigated forward. And it looks like you have helpers behind the scenes. Okay. And this is the Queen of Fire. And that would be you, Aries. And the cards are non-gender. So it's a queen receives. You're being handed things and she receives. See what your oracle was that jumped off the table? Panache. Feels very Italian to me. Okay, panache. So there's style here. All right. And there's beauty and there's grace. So lovely cards for you for your theme cards. I'm going to push them to the back here. Now, let's see, what else does Aries need to know this month? Well, we're going to go week by week in a second. So I'm going to just pick a couple more here to complement those theme cards up there. I'm going to put a couple more on the table. And the first one is going to have to do with your work life. Okay. The second card is going to have to do with your home life. And the third card is going to have to do with kind of like your hopes and dreams. Okay. So we've got for your work life, the Five of Wands. This is interesting because the man is like an opera singer. He's singing and everybody has their fingers in their ears. So it's almost like they don't want to hear what you're saying. Okay. Even though it's loud and clear, not everybody wants to hear it. They're making a choice not to hear this, not to hear you. And so the Five of Wands, 5 is a number of change. Wands is passion, fire, which you are. So you're just not going to be heard by everyone. And that is in the workplace. See, in your home life, you got the Hierophant here, another back view of, his throne there. Now, let's see. There's keys. There's almost like, this reminds me of like behind the scenes, almost like he's got a magician back here. I feel like it reminds me of like in the Bible when the pharaohs had magicians. And so this is some figure there, but he's got a lot of helpers behind him. Okay. So the Hierophant, also a 5, a number of change, but we know the Hierophant is like a symbol of structure and something you can return to, a great advisor. And it looks like, there's more to the story. There's more helpers behind the scenes. Okay. So I hope you do receive the help that you need. Now, the next card is about your hopes and dreams, and you got the Devil card, Blackberry Pie. Devil is a Saturn ruled card. Now, I think it's interesting. This card came up in the month ahead. And so if you haven't listened to that, I would go back and advise you to listen. But it came up in the month ahead as like dishing up guilt. And so this pie's here, it's ready to come out. And so for your hopes and dreams, making sure that you're aligned with your hopes and dreams, that you are ready to receive it. It's like you could eat this pie, but will you digest it, right? So making sure that you don't have anything holding you back about what it is that you want, not letting other people's guilt or saying like it's wrong or you're doing something wrong stand in your way. That's a very strong card here, okay? Now, I did family, but I didn't really do love. So I'm going to give you an oracle for love. Okay. So we did work, family, home life, hopes and dreams. And let's give you one more about love. What does Aries need to know? And you got the mischief card and the little paper boy here, mischief. So it looks like there could be some fun. There was a lot of energy about snakes in the month ahead. This mischief card actually came up in the month ahead also. So it's definitely like you're going to have some fun, but where's the line between fun and then just like toxic people? So you have to be really aware of that. And I feel like because you're not being heard in the workplace, that there's kind of like a little bit of a rebellious attitude here, which is fine. But just don't let it get you into trouble, okay? But there could be some fun. Let me give you one more in the love pile. Anything else there about love? And it's the Mother of Air, Motherwort. Okay, so Madre of Air, and Air is that's the Queen of Swords, and we already had the King of Swords up here. So we do have a couple here. Now, let me just see what the book says. It says Motherwort. A stand of Motherwort towers over other vegetation. A woman grabs a bowline in one hand and grabs a large clump of stems in the other. The prickly seeds scratch her, but she tightens her grip and begins the harvest. She vigorously cuts away at the dense forest of Motherwort. The Madre of Air is led by a deep sense of integrity. She cuts right to the point, even if it hurts. Like bitter motherwort, her words may sometimes be hard to swallow, but clarity opens the path to truth. She knows her values and makes quick, rational decisions without doubting her choices. Just as motherwort softens those with a spiky disposition, the Madre of Air diffuses tension with others using humor and wit. She soothes unchecked emotions and allows common sense to come forward. She understands that execution of purpose comes best from a calm, loving center. Embrace your sharp edges. They create the container of your tenderness. That's really beautiful. Embrace your sharp edges. They create the container for your tenderness. Okay, so it's interesting because like it's all about like using, speaking things that may be hard to say or hard to hear, but using it in with tenderness and using humor. And in the beginning was this one about not wanting to be heard. Okay, so make sure, because it's coming up in your love life, that maybe because you're not heard, maybe over here, make sure to be tender over here and not let it affect your relationships or your love life or get you into trouble. Okay, that's what I get from that. All right, now I'm going to give you a card for each week of the month. Okay, we're starting off, we're going to call it 4 weeks. Well, when do we start here? We're going to call it 5 weeks. So let's see what we need to know here, Aries, for the 5 weeks of July. So week 1 is the week of July 4th, right? And this is when Venus enters Gemini, and this is when Neptune retrograde begins. And you have the 6 of Cups, which is a beautiful card of like reminiscing and enjoying. They're like these two kids playing together and giving the gift of some flowers here. So there's playful, joyful, reminiscing energy there for that first week of 4th of July. Okay. Then we go into week 2. And week 2 is, let's see, we have Uranus entering Gemini. We have Saturn retrograde starting at the end of the week. And we have the Capricorn full moon. And you have the Knight of Pentacles, which would be like a Capricorn night. Okay, something's arriving here. The Knight of Pentacles brings something of value forward. Sometimes it's something that you've been waiting a long time for. All right, week number 2. Now, week 3, let's see. Week 3 is the week that Mercury retrograde starts, and we'll be, we have a lot of retrogrades by then. Let's see what we've got there. We've got the 8 of Swords, and this is just overthinking and feeling stuck, okay? So make sure to take care of yourself really well the week of the 13th, because there's a lot of overthinking. The world's a tough place right now. It's hard to shake the news, and that feels like you're twisted into it. Now, the next week, which is the 20th, and that's the Leo new moon week, okay? All about taking care of ourselves, speaking our truth, and the sun moves into Cancer, and the sun moves to Leo, which is when it will start to trine you. So that square with the sun will end, and then you'll have a beautiful trine with the new moon in Leo. You do have the 10 of Swords, so we do see things hitting kind of a peak here. Maybe you're exhausted. Make sure you just take really good care of yourself that week. Then we move into the last week of the month, which is when Venus enters Cancer. And we have a Chiron retrograde, and we have for you the 9 of Pentacles. So you definitely end on a high note in the month. Remember, that's when the month gets a little bit better for you. 9 of Pentacles, all is well. If you've been waiting on some money, looks like it could be showing up. There's a lot of beauty here, okay? And especially after maybe 2 weeks of just really maybe a little mental exhaustion, just enjoy the simple beauty, okay? Now, let's see. We are going to roll some dice. I'm going to move these cards up and out of the way here. And we're going to throw some charms for you and roll some dice. Let's see what we have with the dice first. And we rolled Aries, and you rolled Jupiter, Aries, 8th house. So Jupiter makes things big. It's the planet of luck and blessings. It's going to be squaring you for the next year because it's going to be in the sign of Cancer. But we rolled Jupiter in Aries, so that's showing luck for you, Aries, in the 8th house, which is Scorpio's house. You can have some luck financially. There's some transformations and changes. You may be redefining yourself, but there's a lot of power here, all right? Also, make sure you're putting money aside for taxes, because that's the other thing that there can be a lot of here. All right, I'm going to move these to the side. I'm going to grab my bowl of charms. And let's toss some charms onto this calendar, see what we get, okay? Take it too seriously. This is for fun. Let's see what you've got. You've got a couple black stones here, which are really used for grounding and clearing. One is a heart up at the top on the panache. Another one here, another one here, another one here. Okay, so a lot of need for grounding. Some of these are hematite, black agate. This could be good stones for you this month. Let's see, right up at the top, you got the symbol for Scorpio. And so that was what you had rolled with the 8th house. That's Scorpio's house. You've got a little owl up here with some wisdom for you. Let's see what else we've got. On top of the 8 of Wands, the travel card, you got like this little Cinderella little buggy, pumpkin little chariot there. Now let's see what other letters we got. And another one down here. Okay, so we have the word or, O-A-R, and the word or, O-R. Most of your stuff landed up at the top here. So on the, right underneath this King of Swords, on the 1st of July, you've got the symbol for Mother Mary. On the 3rd, you've got a screwdriver. The A landed here on the 4th of July. The 5th of July, you have some prayer hands. And then there's a lot of activity here for the week of the 6th through the 12th. So you've got a little candlestick here on the 8th. You got a dime on the 7th. I'm going to say the stars on the 8th. A little high-heeled shoe on the 9th with a little key, skeleton key. The 10th, the letter O, along with the flag. The 11th, you have a piano and a teddy bear and some unlock button. And then the 12th, you've got this grounding stone. So you got a lot of activity there that week of the 6th through 12th. The 14th, you have a moon and then another moon. 2 moons there on the 14th. And a sewing machine. Okay. Sewing machine. Maybe you're repairing something. And moon is definitely emotional. So you could be repairing something emotionally on the 14th. Now on the 22nd, you have the letter R. Over here on the side, you got a little rolling pin. And at the bottom, you got the letter O, a little sailboat, and somebody here looks like maybe a crossing guard. Okay, so not too much activity. If we use the R twice, we could get the word roar, which you have that Leo new moon this month. So mark your calendar for that big week there, 6th through the 12th. I gave you the days that the moon will be in Aries, so have a great month.